Yo, 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 what is up? Oh, what a lovely day. All right. Thank you guys so much as always for joining. Um, Today we are going to be looking at One Piece chapter 1144. Um, but before that, I just want to appreciate everybody that likes the stream, subscribes, all that good stuff, came over from TikTok, whatever, or is watching it after the fact. Thank you guys so much. Let me know how you feeling in the chat or the comments. Um, Next week, I'm trying to get some more people in on this stream for 11:45 because I know it's going to be crazy. Um, so without further ado, let's just jump into it because this is going to be a good chapter. I can feel it. It's not going to be as good as the next one, but it's going to be good. All right, so we have One Piece chapter 1144, A Time for Warriors. And we see here Yamato is being thanked by all the girls she saved. Yamato has the sword, and then the guy who is the builder is also being helped by Otama. And it says Oni Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 29. Liberating the girls and Minamoto the carpenter. Okay. Cool. A logical next step. Most likely after this, we're gonna get to see like Page One and Alti and their reaction to this. So that makes sense. Yamato does seem a little roughed up. So does Tama. So I mean, I guess they were putting in that work because this whole place is kind of busted up. So, but not too much on this. It'll be interesting to see where things go after this. Next, in Oda's notes, the real-life Zoro, Makenyu Arata, has been dropping by the studio to play the One Piece card game. He really enjoys it. Wow. I mean, I've heard that they've done that before, but the fact that he comes frequently is pretty cool. I wish I could sit down and play with Oda. And first page, dang, we're already jumping into crazy. It's Ripley. She's got that line on her face. And she says, well, what do you think it is? And Frankie says, what the hell is that? And it says, the Adam Tree tour continues. And it says, haha, I figured you of all people would appreciate it, being a cyborg and all. This has always been here. It's giving me scientific vibes. Okay, that's very interesting looking. Why would there be a facility like this in a country of warriors? Could it be remnants of the ancient kingdom? It looks like there's trees sprouting from it, so that's very interesting as well. Oh, and then we see Bonnie, and she says, it's awesome here, Frankie. And Lilith says, I was just thinking I'd like to show you this place later. Hey, Frankie, you're here. And then Ripley says, it's good we found you. There was a horn blast earlier, so the woods might not be safe right now. And it says, thanks for finding us. We got lost. Guess even geniuses get lost. What are you two doing here? Lilith, Bonnie? And it says, we can't really refute that claim. Oh, it says, in any case, this facility really is stunning. I estimate it's been here for about at least 3,000 years. It says, what? How did you calculate that? There's no way it's that old. It says, we can't really refute that claim. Honestly, even we locals aren't sure about the origins of this building. Hmm. So if the void century happened over 800 years ago, but then this thing is over 3,000 years, at least 3,000 years old, that's so crazy. And it says, now that's something worth researching. I think I'll make myself at home here. And then Frankie says, you'll get lost again. Well, I'm gonna check it out for myself. And Bonnie says, yeah. I says, what's wrong, Bonnie? I says, look out, there's something behind you. What I find most scary, thunder. It says, this is unreal. Elbaf's just full of crazy stuff. And Ripley says, no, that's not familiar. What kind of creature is that? Mm. That's so wild. And then we flash. So, man, this is crazy lore drops here. So this could be a piece of the ancient kingdom that landed on Elbaf after it was destroyed, or something, or maybe Elbaf is part of the ancient kingdom. I mean, it's got like the hieroglyphs, it's got like it's got the Harley text, it's got all these things. It's got so much lore. My God. But the fact that Vegapunk wants to stay here and study it is pretty interesting. And now we're getting that these scary monsters that people fear are just going out. That's kind of crazy. Okay, so now we go to the Western Village. It says, what I find most scary, Draugr? Sober up and grab your weapons. That fire swaller was wrecked. It's not just a regular zombie. It's a Draugr. Okay. Oh, look at this. It's a Draugr. In Norse mythology, a folklore, a Draugr, also spelled Draug, is an undead creature often depicted as an animated corpse inhabiting its grave, frequently guiding buried treasure. Oh. Oh. Man, Oda's just something else. And it says, what could have brought the children's imagination to life like this? It says, where are the chiefs? We're waiting on their orders. It says they drank too much. They're still holed up in the privy. You're kidding. And it says, this couldn't be more surreal. A giant me. Yo, fucking Brooke, dude. He's so funny. Yo, the fact that he's like, oh, a giant me. That's so funny, dude. Oh my God. Just like a giant skeleton. It would have been really funny if he was like, is that my dad? Like, that would have been crazy. And one of the giants says, you visitors should fall back to the edge of the village. Should I carry you all there? And says, hey, you don't need to keep us at arm's length. We want to help fight. And it says, you said that last bit a little too quietly. And it says, either way, there's definitely something strange happening on this island. And then it says, that's enough, Colin. And it says, why not? I'm a warrior too. I can fight. And one of the giants says, I just told you no. And then he says, I'm Gabon's son. And he says, and that doesn't make you Gabon. He says, the battlefield is no place for a kid like you. He says, yeah, as he falls. And then it says, Ja Rule. What's wrong, Missy? I'm sorry, there's something I didn't tell you before. And he says, you're saying one of these intruders looked just like Red Hair? And it says, yeah, and both of them were seriously strong. It says one of them had a really weird ability. It says, in this world, strange powers usually come from devil fruits. If it's an unknown element, odds are it's a devil fruit user. Talk to him, Jinbei. Very interesting. Okay. So it says, spread the word that there are two humans other than the Straw Hats on Elbaf. Report back as soon as you find them. It says, got it, right away. And Brooke says, are you sure it's only two intruders? All this chaos suggests there could be more. And then someone says, right, get the word out now. It says, I don't know who's behind this or where they're hiding, but anyone who kidnaps children in broad daylight is nothing but scum. Yeah, pop off. Ufusao says, if they're taking hostages, they must have something else planned for Albaf. And then it says, I've never heard of kidnapping like this before. And then Ja Rule says, I won't let them get away with it. It's, oh, excuse me. It says, we'll lend you a hand. We'll just need a human-sized ship too. It says, don't be ridiculous. You're our guest. You should go hide somewhere safe. It says, hey, just wait a sec. Where are Dory and Broggy? Still stuck in the privy. They seriously need to lay off the booze. Wow. This chapter is really popping off. Like, this is really like a good setup. All this stuff is happening. Everyone's starting to become aware of the full situation and the scope of everything that is going on right at this moment. So that's really good. It says, if the culprits are human sized, we'd be better suited to dealing with this. It says, that's right. The giants can take care of the big things. We should focus on the intruders. And then Brooke says, agreed, but Elbaf is too big for us to search on foot. And Nami goes, And then she like looks over and it's Colin and it says, heave ho, heave ho, he. It says, you want to come with me? I thought you were going to tell me to stop. All right, then, but I get to be the captain. And Nami's like, that's so cute. That's so funny. Then Colin says, let's go, Colin Pirates. Set sail. And it says, hey, you're big enough to row. Onwards. I like the name of the Colin Pirates. That's a cool one. Oh, and then we get Dunko. It says, all warriors in the Sun Realm, please be advised. There was a confirmed sighting of humans other than the Straw Hats earlier at the Oust Castle. And you have Dunko, and she's got headphones on, and she's listening to music, and it says, is she listening to the drums of liberation? Maybe. It says, consider them hostile and dangerous. Summer says, that's a TD, right? We should have a singing contest. You're out if you mess up. It says, yeah, it's Gunko's post-meal ritual. It's not a ritual, I just like it. It's nice having a hobby. What's your favorite song? Do you see what I'm seeing? Yo, that's the name of Uta's song. Like the headlining song in Film Red is New World. And she says, New World. And she starts like singing a little bit. And Summer says, haha, you got a problem with the current one? And Killingham says, you shouldn't mock the interests of other Summers. It says, my bad. Anyway. It says, looky over there, that grown up is going all out to try and save the kids. And it says, now there ain't no way they can stab me. There ain't going nowhere. You've got this, Saul. Robin and Chopper, like, you got it. So he's got two shields and he looks like he's trying to stop them. It says, the kids are just following this cloth, right? But it's headed straight for the flames. They'll die if I don't stop them. And then it says, all right, they're stop. And then the thorns start pricking the other kids because they run into each other. It says, what the? He's like, wow, sorry, Ilva, Scotty, Olaf, you okay back there? It says, what now? If I stop one, they all start pricking each other. It says, that's disgusting. Who could do such a thing? Dude, these guys, they're over here giggling about this whole fucking situation. Yo, but that's so crazy though. Oh my god. I need to text a friend right now. The fact that New World is the song that she's singing, one, we already knew Uta was technically canon. Per the pictures and stuff like that of her being there. So the fact that she's singing Uta's song New World, it's absolutely bananas. That's that's got to mean something. It says Saw, it must be the work of a fruitability. It says they have to be close by. The kids would reach the fire before we found them. We can't let that happen. And then it says, if we can't stop the ones in the front, we'll start with Bjorn in the back. So then he like lassos Bjorn. And then it says, if I stop the if I can stop the rest one by one, and then all of a sudden Saul's like, and it says, what I find most scary, Fenrir. And it says, no way, they're actually controlling these monsters too? Who's behind this? Bro, this is getting crazy. That's like just so insane. And like I know what Fenrir looks like. He just looks like a giant wolf. And this guy kind of looks like him. Then we cut back to the Walrus School. It says, Principal, it's not just Western Village. Other villages are reporting monster sightings. They're appearing all over Elbaf. It says it must be some kind of ability. We need to find them fast. And the principal's like, right. And then the Western village is still fighting the Draugr. It says, I didn't think Draugrs were real. Who knew taking one down would be this much trouble? And it says, carry the injured back to the village. So these things are strong too. Like this ability is so busted. Like the fact that we have such an insane, and I mean insane, level of like you can be put to sleep, your dreams can be turned into a reality, and then they can fuck you up like this. Like that's crazy. And then the dragon comes out of nowhere and just like roar, and the, the dragon's like, what? And it's like it's shooting lightning. Like instead of it shooting fire from its mouth, it's shooting lightning. And it says a Needhogger? Needhogger? I'm gonna type that in. Is an evil dragon from Norse mythology that is eternally trapped by gnawing on the roots of the world tree. Oh, it's more of a wyvern than a dragon. Very interesting. It's like what I find most scary, a Needhogger. And it says, it's no use, they just keep coming. And it says, what I find most scary, a ghost. It says, we won't be able to protect the village. Everyone take cover. And then it says, ready, Dory? Absolutely, Broggy. And they are coming back, Dory and Broggy, and they hit it with a Hokoku sovereignty and blast the ghost, the dragon, and whatever else is there. And it says, this is the Svalar mode of our mighty ship, the Great Eric. It says, you monsters are in for it now. We'll get you for making us waste our booze. Yo, Dory and Broggy are tough, dude. They're so good. And then Oimo and Kashi are like, yes, did the Chiefs do that? No, it's the giant warrior pirates. Well, I mean, the Chiefs did do that. I mean, are they the Chiefs? Like, I feel like Yarul and Yorul were the Chiefs, but I think they're the new Chiefs, maybe. And then it says, sorry we're late. We had to barf up all that booze. What a waste. And Dorian Broggy says, leave the beast to us. You guys take care of the kids. And then it says Mountain Eater Yasan, and he says, it says that ship's basically invincible now. And it says the Pirate King's left hand arrives. And it says colors spread to celebrate the anime's return in the next issue. Yeah. Okay, so we didn't get any Loki stuff this round, which is cool. You know, I think the next we're going to be getting some Loki stuff because that's what I really care about right now. I do. But this is cool. This is setup. This is all setup. So let's go through this. The Yamato covers the story is kind of getting a little played out, but like at least it's mounting to something. I'm wondering where it goes from here. And then the Frankie stuff is really interesting. That there's a lab there that's from about 3,000 years ago. That's crazy stuff. So that's super interesting. The monster showing up to Frankie is interesting as well. Uh, the fact that it's about to be like Bonnie, Lilith, Ripley, and Frankie all against one of these monsters. Pretty crazy. Interesting to see how that plays out. The fact that these giants are having such a trouble with this big thing kind of makes me feel like giants just don't really go that hard. But who knows? Maybe these things are stronger than I assume. Um, and then Colin wanting to go off because he's got the spirit of a warrior. He's um Gabon's child. It makes sense. Um, then we have uh Nami kind of telling Yorul everything. Um, the fact that they're kind of getting a full determination of everything. Also, by the way, the skeleton coming and Brooke saying this couldn't be more surreal, a giant me, is so funny. So funny, dude. Um but them kind of understanding the whole situation and the Straw Hats being like, yeah, we need to take out the guy, like the people. And Colin trying to go off on his own and them joining him. Super cool. The thing that's blowing my mind is this Uta God's Knights connection here. And they're, you know, the thing that's so crazy. Okay, so hear me out here. The TD, the TD on her headphones, that's for tone dial. All right. And those were introduced all the way back in Skypiea. Right. She's using them to listen to this song because tone dials were the ones where you could record something and then give it to someone else and re-record it. Like Frankie used them, I believe, for the Sunny's instructions on how to use the coup de burst and stuff like that. So they used them in Whole Cake when Jinbei had to pilot the Sunny and do the coup de burst. They also were used in the movie Strong World when Nami left a message for Luffy. Like, they are historically that thing. The fact that they have headphone versions of these now and it says TD on them and they said, oh, that's a TD, right? We should have a singing contest. That means it's a tone dial. That's so cool. That's a crazy cool callback. I love everything about this. Um, Very cool. And the fact that they're like, oh, what song are you listening to? And she says New World, the song that Uta performs, the main one, like that's so interesting because everyone was thinking that she was Uta or something like that. But I mean, the possible connection now is super interesting. I'm so intrigued by this. This to me is the best part of the chapter, but I think that's just because like of how interesting I find that and how much I want to know who Gunko is. So what's very interesting is imagine if Gunko is like the adopted daughter of Shamrock, just like Uta is like the adopted daughter of Shanks. And it would be like the connection of them both liking New World, Uta singing it, her enjoying it. Super interesting. Um, Saul trying to come up with just random shit to stop these kids from going to the fire. Interesting, but also crazy because like the thorns poke each other. Robin's like, dude, this person is disgusting. And then him being like, oh, I'll stop them one by one, but then Fenrir showing up. Pretty crazy. All of the monsters appearing right at the end, and Dorian Broggy just being like, bro, we had to throw up all our alcohol, we're pissed, dude, and hitting them with the Hokoku sovereignty is crazy work. And the fact that Gabon's there, Dude, I'm excited to see what they do here. Like having them all go all out against these monsters is going to be really cool. So this chapter was really interesting to me. It was a lot of build, a lot of cool stuff that they were referencing, things like that. To me, this chapter is like, I want to say it's like an 8. Overall, really good stuff in here. Very like we got a lore drop. We got more information upon like the fact that there's old stuff on Elbaf, 3,000 years to be exact, you know, and things like that. That's super cool. We got where Bonnie and Vegapunk are. You know, we were wondering where they've been at because they weren't at the library with Saul and Chopper like they originally were. Uh, so, so it's a very interesting, like, I don't know, a very interesting set of events. But the fact that Dorian Broggy are back and we got Gabon, like, this makes me think that we're gonna get to see these guys go all out and take out these monsters. And hopefully in that time the Straw Hats find the Gods Knights and they square off. Because I'm ready for that. And I think probably if I'm a betting man, I think next chapter we're gonna get a lot of Loki stuff because we got none of it this chapter. And then right at the end, we're gonna get some sort of, you know, something like a cliffhanger. Like we almost every time we have Oda, he goes and he gives us a cliffhanger right before the end of a chapter run. So the fact that we're getting a chapter um, next next week, and we're then gonna like the fact that we got 43, 44, and we're gonna get 45, and then probably a break is really awesome. But that means that he loves he loves when he goes on these runs and then just stop like right when he's done at the end of the run. He loves cliffhangering us. So there's going to be some good stuff next chapter. I have a really good feeling about it. So make sure that you are tuned in and stay spoiler free till that chapter comes out, because I've been seeing them all over the place. People just dropping spoilers. Can't be doing that. Make sure you try and stay spoiler free. I'm gonna try and stay spoiler free until my, live reaction. So that way it's just all authentic, like it is, every time that I do this. But next chapter is gonna be good. I can fucking feel it. Next chapter is gonna be a 9.5 for sure. I would put money on it. So, dang, that was a great chapter. Had a lot of cool stuff. I need to see this Gunko Uta like Link. So, anyway, that is where I'm going to end this chapter review. As always, please like the stream. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It has been an amazing journey with these chapter reviews. I love doing them. Hopefully you enjoy them too. If you do, please let me know in the comments. It always helps, me know that people are out there enjoying this stuff. So next time I'm gonna get somebody. I'm gonna have somebody on this next chapter review, if not multiple people. So make sure that you are ready and waiting for that next one to drop. So as always, guys, thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Yeah.